Now joining me on the Peerless Boilers hotline, Peerless builds America's best boilers. Former NHL defenseman, played in the league for many years with the Rangers, Sabres, and Florida Panthers. Now he is the play-by-play voice for those Florida Panthers on 560 WQAM, and that is our good buddy Randy Moller. Randy, Zach Gelb here, DARPATV.com in New York. Thank you for joining me, and how are you?
Very good, very good. Enjoying the playoffs.
Yeah, they really have been impressive. We've had a lot of teams really, you look at the Kings, they're an 8th seed, and they've done a remarkable job. The Devils, they won last night as a 6th seed. A lot of parity in the NHL this year, Randy.
Yeah, it certainly is, and that's why, it's so easy to say that all you got to do is get invited into the dance. And I think hopefully a lot of fans and a lot of people in media realize that that's all it takes, because every year in the NHL playoffs you see so many upsets and you see so many top teams get bumped off, and Cinderella stories from teams that finished in the 8th spot, 7th spot, even the 6th spot, that go on and get into the get into the semifinals and the finals. We've seen it so many times. That's what makes it exciting, and that's what is disappointing for me calling the games for the Panthers. They went to double overtime in the 7th game against the Devils in the first round. It's easy to start fantasizing what could have been if they could be in the semifinals as well. The Panthers, that's how close, that's how much parity there is in the league, and it makes it fun. I think that the fan interest, because you're not having the top seeds sweeping out the bottom feeders 4 straight. You never see that in the NHL playoffs.
That Panthers-Devils series was remarkable. It went to a Game 7, 2 overtimes. Kevin Dineen up against Pete DeBoer. Pete DeBoer was obviously with the Florida Panthers for many years before he got fired, and now he is the coach of the Devils, and he has that team going to the Eastern Conference Finals. Just a quick word on the former Panthers coach, Pete DeBoer.
Well, I think he's done a great job, and they have a lot of talent up there. They have a lot of superstars, and with Zach Parise and of course Ilya Kovalchuk, the $1 million man. These guys are providing the offense. Dana Zubris is having a great playoffs, but I think that Pete DeBoer has put together a great game plan for the team that he has, and Marty Brodeur, the future Hall of Famer. They played well. They played extremely well. Their special teams, I think, are what carried them through the regular season. Although their special teams were not the difference in the playoff series against the Panthers, but certainly they have been in the Flyers series, and I expect in the semifinals as well. They're a well-balanced team. They go with 4 lines. They go with their 6 defensemen, and I think that's one of the keys why they're having so much success. So it's a little surprising that maybe that it only went 5 games with the Flyers. I thought that the Flyers would put up much more of a fight, but I'm happy for the Devils. They're one of those teams that barely not barely get into the playoffs, but I don't think a lot of people expected them to go that far, and they're proving a lot of people wrong. As the Phoenix Coyotes and the LA Kings, and that there's been a lot of upsets, a lot of surprises, and that's why it's fun. And I'm looking forward to a great semifinals. Who's going to come out of the East and the West, and to represent and to fight for the cup. It should be really exciting.
I know Petey's been on this show earlier in the year, actually the first week of the season, when they were going through who's going to play goaltender between Brodeur and Johan Hedberg when Marty was out for a little bit. And I remember that day on that NHL preview show that we were doing, I said that the Devils were going to go into the playoffs this year, and people were calling me stupid, and you're exactly right. They've done a great job this year, and now they're off to the Eastern Conference Finals, and it's good to see Pete DeBoer have some success after a few rough years with the Florida Panthers. But Randy, I want to ask you this. Who is a tougher matchup for those New Jersey Devils? Will it be the Washington Capitals or the New York Rangers? Who presents more of a challenge for Coach DeBoer?
Oh boy, that's a tough one to answer, but I think it would be the New York Rangers. I think the Rangers would put up a better fight. No disrespect to the Washington Capitals, but I think the Rangers have a little bit more on the offense in order to get it done, and I think that would be a tougher test for the New Jersey Devils looking ahead.
We're talking to Randy Moller, the play-by-play voice for those Florida Panthers. Used to be a New York Ranger, was on that defensive line for many years. And Randy, I want to ask you this. I love your goal calls. I love the way that you incorporate pop culture and movie lines. My favorite call of yours is when you go, "He shoots, he scores. Ma, where's the meatloaf?" I want to ask you this. How would you capture that 6.6 seconds goal that Brad Richards put in to get the game into overtime?
I don't know. Obviously I've shut it down with the goal calls now that the season's over, but that was pretty exciting. I'm sure I would have had something, but that was an amazing turnaround, and to see a penalty that was called, not only a penalty for high sticking, but a 4-minute minor, and you saw how a series just completely turned around. The Devils or the Rangers were dead in the water, looked like they were going to be eliminated, and then all of a sudden now they got the advantage and going into another game, they've got new life or whatever. But that's the magic of NHL playoffs, where things can change so quickly. There's a turnover, there's an unexpected goal, a penalty that can shift not only a game but shift a series that we've seen, and now it looks like the Rangers are in the driver's seat.
I couldn't believe it. You know, I was wearing my Ryan Callahan Winter Classic jersey watching the game, and when that goal went in, I wasn't at the game. I was home. I almost went through my roof upstairs in my living room. I couldn't believe it when the puck went in. I thought I saw it this year when Richards, he put that goal in with 0.10 of a second left. To do it with 6.6 seconds in a Stanley Cup playoff game, facing going down 3-2, it's remarkable. But you look at what happened to Holtby, and Holtby's had a great series. He's really gone up to par with Henrik Lundqvist to allow 2 goals in the span of 3 minutes that just completely have changed this series. Where do you think the young goaltender's confidence is at right now?
Well, I think he's going to be okay. I mean, it wasn't his fault, either of the goals, whether it's the game-tying goal late in the third period or in the overtime, in my opinion. He's a fine young goaltender, and I think the Washington Capitals have found their starting goaltender for many, many years. You don't want to put too much pressure on him, but I think he's been up for the task, and you just see how goaltending can dictate how playoff series from game to game and then to series. I mean, look at the Phoenix Coyotes and Los Angeles Kings. Smith and Quick almost single-handedly have carried their teams, and now one of those teams will be fighting for the Stanley Cup, and it's all because of goaltending. And you look at some of the other series where the goaltending wasn't as up to par or what was expected, and if you don't get the goaltending in the playoffs, you're not going to win, and both LA and Phoenix have proven it, and I believe the Washington Capitals have found a great goaltender, and of course Lundqvist, I'm a big fan of Lundqvist as well. I think he's an all-world goaltender. He's one of my top goaltenders in the world. When he's on his game, which is a lot of the time, he's almost unbeatable, and he's proven that for many years, and I know he proved that to the Panthers this year during the regular season.
You know, you look at Henrik Lundqvist and the run that he has been on, the only way he's only getting beat is up on that opposite side of the glove shoulder. That's the only time he's really have been beat in that series or in an odd man rush, but he's done also a great job on the odd man rush, stopping 3-on-1s. But Alexander Ovechkin, a guy that the Capitals need in this series to have a huge series if they want to win tonight on Game 6 and then try to force a Game 7 at the Garden, they got to get him more shots. He had no shots in Game 5.
Yeah, I mean, that's the key. I mean, he's a key contributor. You saw how Kovalchuk for the New Jersey Devils, what an impact he had, and in that series against the Flyers, and even though I haven't been disappointed in Ovechkin's play, I think that he's done as much as he can. I think Washington, their depth in their third and fourth line is not up to what the Rangers can provide, and you can only do so much, but he's going to have a heroic Game 6 for the Washington Capitals. He knows that. He's up for the challenge, and that's why these guys are superstars, because they rise to the occasion, and I expect them to be there. I don't expect him to go through a whole game without a shot on goal.
Do you believe that Hunter's kind of getting in Ovechkin's head? Because, you know, it's been very interesting how Hunter has handled the play of Alexander Ovechkin. You know, the first few games, he didn't give him not enough ice time, and now he's given him a ton of ice time. Is there a consistency struggle here with Alexander Ovechkin?
Well, I don't know. I think Ovechkin plays. I think he's getting enough ice time and that, but I give credit to Dale Hunter because obviously he's pushing the right buttons in order to get into the position that he has in the playoffs here with the team that he's had, and so I mean I give him credit, but it's a very delicate situation how you deal with your superstar and your team and how to utilize him not only offensively but put him in positions where he's got to be relied upon defensively, and I know that. I think just people and fans were so used to Ovechkin just playing when he wanted, where he wanted, how much ice time in all situations, be all over the ice. I think Dale Hunter as a coach is trying to get a little bit of structure in order because it can be disruptive for the rest of the team and the different lines and that. So I think Ovechkin is bought into it. He wants to win, and he has the burning desire to be the difference maker, and that's what you want with your superstars. So it's nice to see that these stars are providing the star value and rising up, and the Lundqvist and the Richards and Gabrick is he scored a big goal to help the Rangers get out of their funk and get back into the series, and that's what the NHL is all about. And that's what these teams, and if these teams are going to be successful, who's ever going to win the cup, their star players are going to be star players. There's no doubt about that. Whether it starts in the goaltending, back on defense, or your offensive stars, they have to be your stars. They have to be your best players.
Game 6 tonight in Washington, 7:30 puck drop as the Rangers look to go back to the Eastern Conference Finals and do a little 1994 kind of similar matchup as the New Jersey Devils do await them. Zach Gelb here on DARPATV.com. Randy Moller joins us on the Peerless Boilers hotline. Peerless builds America's best boilers. And Randy, the Rangers power play has been so inconsistent all throughout the year. People were going furious on Twitter and Facebook, and then all of a sudden they found a way to get 2 power play goals late in that game after the penalty assessed on Ward. What can you take out of those last 2 goals that you could try to implement now to get more consistent power play from here on out?
Well, in the playoffs, I don't think you're seeing too many pretty power play goals. They come very rarely. I think every team, including the Rangers, they all realize that to move the puck around the outside and try and get those point shots through. And you saw the game-winning goal with Stahl with the slap shot, and that's your bread and butter. You've got to get the puck back and to the point and see if you can get those shots through and get screens in front and that. The Rangers are like no other team, or they're like any other team. They have the offensive stars to move the puck, to handle the puck with Gabrick and Richards and Callahan and these players. And back on the blue line as well, and there's no fancy plays in the playoffs. You see so many goals that forwards are crashing the net, and it's a deflection, it's a screen, it's a scramble in front, and it's a goal off a skate or off a shin pad. Those are how the goals are scored, and you got to get into those tough areas and make sure the puck gets through, and that's what you're looking for. And I don't expect anything different tonight from that. I think the goals are not going to be the prettiest goals, but whoever wins the game are going to get credit with what we call the dirty goals, and that's what you look for in the playoffs. It's tough. It's tough to play out there, and it's tough to get your ice time. That's for sure, and get set up in the offensive zone, especially on the power play.
You know, when you look at the Rangers' power play, I really think it relies on 2 things when you want to see some success, and I do agree with you. It's tough to score a power play goal in the playoffs, but the first thing is the Rangers have to win faceoffs, and they did a good job with that towards the end of the game on Game 5, and also, as you saw in Game 4 when they had some power play success. You know, I've been watching the Rangers throughout the whole year, and how many times have we seen a faceoff lost? The puck gets cleared all the way down, the puck comes back in the zone, it gets shot, it's saved, then they take another faceoff, and the puck gets cleared all the way down, and you already have 40 seconds wasted off that power play. And you also look at the Rangers power play. Brad Richards, when he's been on the ice, it has been phenomenal. He really is the facilitator for this Rangers power play.
Yeah, he certainly is, and you mentioned it. I mean, face-offs are so important for each team when you're whether you're on the power play or you're trying to kill a penalty, and that's how the game-winning goal for the Rangers happened the other night. They won the face-off. It went back to the point and banged the pucks in the back of the net. That it can kill. That can kill your power play with losing those draws. And I sound like a broken record, but your best players have to be your best players. And how are they? Your best players? Well, they're winning the draws. They're controlling off the sideboards. They're making nice passes and getting it back to the point. You're getting good looks at the goal and finally getting the shots through. And it's all about execution in the playoffs and especially on the power play when you have the opportunity. Yeah, I know there's been so much frustration with the fans for the Rangers through the early part of the playoffs with the lack of success with the man advantage, but I think they've figured it out now, and I think that's while they obviously figured it out because they've won because of their power play and their special teams the last couple of games.
You know, when they brought in Brad Richards here to New York, and he's played through like the first, he got off to a struggle to start off the season. Everyone's saying this is the big money we gave him, and everyone was saying just wait to the playoffs. All the hockey experts, they say this guy is great in the big game, and that was evidence what he did with Tampa Bay and that John Tortorella team where he won the Conn Smythe Trophy, and he also won the Stanley Cup Finals back there a few years ago with Tampa Bay. What makes Brad Richards so great in the big game? He's just been phenomenal throughout the course of the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Well, I think you just said it. I mean, he's proven it before where he's been a big-time player at the critical times of the season, in the playoffs, in the finals. Yeah, the year that he had, the playoffs that he had, leading Tampa Bay to that Stanley Cup, he was arguably the best player in the world, and he proved that in that series. And here's a great opportunity for him on one of the biggest stages. And one thing about him is he wants the puck. He wants to be in the action. He wants to be the man. He wants to be the difference maker. And then, like I said, that's what you need from your superstars. And guys that are making the most money, that have the most responsibility, they have to step up and take control. I mean, the Ranger fans have seen that before with Mark Messier and with Brian Leetch and some of the Mike Richter during their last playoff, their Stanley Cup run and win. Those players were their best players. They had Kovalev as well. I mean, you have to have those guys be the difference makers, and that's what the Rangers are getting right now. And I think they're seeing Richards at the best of his game. He's very comfortable. I think Tortorella, the coach, is using him, utilizing him to the best of his ability, and that's what you need. Put him in a situation where they're going to succeed and be able to be game breakers and difference makers, and that's all you can ask for. And if it doesn't happen, then you know what? You can look and say, hey, we gave him and we gave these other players the opportunity to be on the center stage and be the difference makers, and it's up to them to execute.
We're getting ready for a Game 6 tonight, final one here, as we're talking to Randy Moller, and Randy is the play-by-play voice for the Florida Hockey Panthers on Sports Radio 560 WQAM, and Randy played a few years with the New York Rangers as a defenseman, and you look at this Rangers the defenseman unit, Girardi has had goals, Stahl has goals, Strowman has had success on the power play through these playoffs. McDonough has been just such a warrior. You look at these Rangers, young guys on the defensive end, they're playing a great hockey right now.
Yeah, they certainly are, and then no disrespect to them. There's no real superstars.
There's not.
It isn't, and they do it as a group, and they take the responsibilities of not only offensively but especially defensively. And I've been not surprised, but I've been very impressed, I guess, by the number of blocked shots and sacrificing their body and put themselves in a position to block those shots to help out Lundqvist in goal and to cut off those passing lanes. And kudos to the coaching staff as well. These guys are very committed. Like I said, there's no real superstars, but they're getting the job done. And I think it just proves that you don't need 3 or 4 superstars back in your blue line in order to win in the playoffs. You just need a group of 6, possibly 7, that can go out there and play the way the game should be played in the playoffs. And as you're not seeing a lot of fancy plays in the playoffs. You're seeing a lot of chipping off the boards, positioning, sticks and angles, and good penalty killing and sacrificing their bodies. And the Rangers have been excellent at that.
Randy, thanks so much for the time. I appreciate it. Enjoy the games later on tonight, and let's get you on again real soon, my man. I appreciate a few minutes.
I enjoy being on the program every time, and I will enjoy the game tonight and the rest of the playoffs. Thanks.